In today's video, I am going to share with you all the reasons why I think when you're out there and you're looking for properties, try to avoid those foreclosures. Try to avoid those short sales. Why do I say this? As a real estate attorney, I have represented individuals, investors, institutional groups on thousands of acquisitions of foreclosure properties. I have seen everything when it comes to this world. Now, I can tell you, it's 2018. The market has changed considerably. A lot of people, they think that when you look out there, there is a foreclosure, they think, oh man, I'm getting a deal. Or they see an auction, oh man, I'm going to get a deal on this property. Well, guess what? At the end of the day, when it comes to buying a property, whether it's a foreclosure or it's a regular sale, it's always going to come down to supply and demand. And the reality is nowadays, there's so much demand for houses. There's so many people with money out there that when it comes to a lot of these properties that are in foreclosure or they're advertised as a short sale or they're going to auction at the clerk of court auction website or some other third-party site, you're not really getting that much of a deal and you may be getting more problems than you are a property. My first reason why I think you shouldn't buy a foreclosure, foreclosures are in really bad shape. Now, sure, everybody knows, you see the pictures, the houses look decrepit, they look beat down. The reality is, when it comes to a lot of these properties, you just don't know how bad that is and how much work it's going to require. Remember, an individual that was living in that house while it was being foreclosed on spent many years living in there, not taking care of the property. A house is a very difficult thing to maintain. There's a lot of moving parts. Just think about something as simple as your car, right? Your car requires maintenance every couple of months. You need to change the oil. You need to rotate the tires. It's the same thing with the house. The house has a ton of moving parts. You have all the windows. You have all the doors. You have the roof. These are all points where water can get in by. These are all points where some sort of damage can occur. And then you have other elements that can happen. What if at some point in that house, all the fixtures got wet because a leak got in through the roof? Now you have damage protruding into other areas. There's a lot that goes into the house, and when an individual is in foreclosure, guess what? The maintenance, the little upkeep, all the little things that go into it, they stop to take care of it. So these houses require a lot of work, and a lot of people underestimate just how expensive construction is and just how much time and money is involved. So what ends up happening is you buy this house and you may think you're getting a deal, but the amount of work is required and the amount of surprises that it's going to come with, you might as well just have bought a house that was already fixed up and ready to go for you. The second reason why I think foreclosures and auctions and all these short sales are a bad idea, you need a lot of cash. Now, going along with reason number one, you're going to need a lot of money to do all those repairs to the property, and you don't know where that, cash exodus on money fixing up the property is going to end. The second reason why a lot of these foreclosures, they're going to require you to pay cash up front. What does that mean? Chances are you may not be able to finance any of it because they're going to require that you pay cash for the whole amount. A lot of people, they go out there and they start looking at houses and they're like, oh, wow, well, this house is a foreclosure and it's advertised at $190,000. Well, guess what? That's the price they're going to start the bidding at in a lot of instances. It's only going to shoot up from there. Now, are you going to want to have all this cash outflow out there when you probably could have just gone and bought another property that doesn't require as much work, doesn't have as much of a risk, and you can finance? It's something to think about when you're out there looking at all these foreclosures, because remember, you're going to have to pay for all of it cash straight out of your pocket, and chances are you're not going to be able to get a financing from a lender for it. Third reason why I think they are a bad idea for most people. You spend and waste a lot of time looking at a bunch of houses that chances are you don't have a chance of purchasing. What do I mean by that? Every house that you go out there and you see listed as a foreclosure, for example, if you go on Realtor.com, Zillow.com, it'll show foreclosure or heading to auction at some point. Well, guess what? That house is at some point in the foreclosure process. What does this mean? This means the house isn't being sold at any time soon, but now you're spending time looking at it because you looked at it, it's in the neighborhood that you like, it kind of has the style and look and feel that you want in your future home. Well, now you do some research, you look into, well, what's in the property? Let me see if there's any liens against it. Well, what kind of work is going to be required? You spend all this time looking at the house, and it turns out the house never even makes it to a foreclosure auction. All right, that's one facet of it. The second facet of it is sometimes the houses get advertised for auction. Like I was mentioning earlier, the houses get advertised for auction. You know what they do to generate a lot of interest? A lot of these individuals, Some of the auction companies, some of the realtors, what they do is they list it at a lower price to get a lot of buzz going about the property. They want to create a bidding war. So now people, and this happens all the time, people tell me, hey, Jonathan, you know a lot about the foreclosure auction process and buying foreclosures. So I saw this property and it's for $190,000. I want to get it. Well, when you go and you look at comps on the house, comps are at $350,000. They're only listing it at $190,000 to get a bunch of investors and bidders and people interested in buying that property. So now you spend all this time, you get all excited, you do all of this, and it turns out you never had a shot at buying the property. So think about that, because all that time and money you spend looking at these houses is going to be time wasted, and come 4, 5, 6, 7 months down the road, you're going to think to yourself, man, I just want to buy any house at this point, and you're going to give up on that foreclosure process.